I'm Sandra. I have a doctorate in education, and I'm a test prep expert with Study.com. I'm excited to help guide you toward success in the FTCE School Counseling PK-12 018. Knowledge of professional, ethical, and legal considerations. Key areas for you to study prior to the test are Florida school counseling ethics laws on confidentiality and reporting. Also practice the application of ethical decision-making models. So let's go ahead and start our analysis. Which of the following is an example of an ethics violation? Well, let's take a look at the important word there, and that is ethics, and it's also violation. So let's take a look at A. A school counselor keeps detailed notes of all counseling sessions and stores them in a locked cabinet in the main office. So those are locked and people do not have access to them. So that is not a violation. B. A school counselor calls Child Protective Services after a student reports abuse by their foster mother. Well, they are by law expected to contact protective services, so that is not an ethics violation. C. A school counselor refers a student to another counselor in the building when they determine the student's needs are outside of their competence and experience. Well, that's not a violation because that counselor is unable to help that student, and so they go ahead and find another counselor that can be more beneficial for them. So D, a school counselor discusses information a student shared in an individual counseling session with the student's classroom teacher. That is definitely an ethics violation. You cannot share, it's private information. So D is the correct answer. The concept of the least restrictive environment was established within which of the following? A, the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Well, unless you really know about least restrictive environment, the Rehabilitation Act does not apply to that. It's very important in all of the counseling and protecting our young people, but that is not the correct act. B, No Child Left Behind. Well, that deals with, again, young people, but it's not about that. It's more about making sure that students are up to par when it comes to assessment and grade level and where they're supposed to be, and no one's being left behind. And C, Americans with Disabilities Act. Now, you could think that might be it, and it is protective, but at the same time, it is not dealing with D, and I want you to jump to D, and we add that word education. So C is not correct. And then D, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That is specifically dealing with the least restrictive environment. A school has had behavioral issues, so they are changing the policy. The teacher suggests having the counselors provide discipline for students. The administration should respond to the request by A, approaching the counseling team to see the plausibility of the request. Well, they can talk about the plausibility of it, but they know that that is not the goal or the role of counseling. B, researching the effectiveness of counselors serving as disciplinarians. Again, the administration already knows what the role, the ethics, the law is when it comes to dealing with students and discipline. That the counselor is there to support. So that is not correct. C, identifying that the role of the counselor is for support and guidance, not discipline. And so that is going to be the correct answer. And approving the request, as you can see, is certainly not the correct answer because it is not supporting students. And that is the role of the counselors. Which of the following guarantees student privacy and prevents personal information from being shared with others? So A, free appropriate public education. Well, that word free in public education is not dealing with privacy, so that is incorrect. B, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Well, we are talking about disabilities there, and this is different. If you go back to the question, it says student privacy. So that's not correct. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, we are not talking about rehabilitation. We are talking about student privacy and personal information. So D, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Right there, we've got privacy inside of education. So that is the correct answer. For more practice, check out our FTCE School Counseling PK-12 018 playlist. And for even more detailed practice strategies and customizable study material, head over to Study.com and check out our FTCE School Counseling PK-12 test prep course. Those who use Study.com boast a 92% pass rate. Our courses include full-length exams, hundreds of authentic practice questions, and short targeted video lessons specifically developed based on the latest test updates. With our resources, you'll know exactly what to expect on test day. Like this video and subscribe to this channel to get all the latest FTCE test updates. And please leave your questions and success stories in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching and happy studying.